mixture between Hezbollah and Al-Qaeda. Hezbollah is the more dangerous terrorist organization.
Belga.
Top anti-terror officials tell the 6 News investigators Hezbollah agents are active in the Charlotte area. John Romero tells us.
We're looking at least 15 to 20 years that Hezbollah has been setting up shop in Mexico.
But since 9/11, U.S.
الأكبر. لم تجدوا طوال التاريخ البشري دولة وقيادة متوحشة ونخبة متوحشة كما هو الحال الآن في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية. لن تجدوا نخبة معادية للإنسانية وللبشرية كالنخبة الموجودة في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية.
في لبنان قولوا لهم الموت لأمريكا.
The real concern is their long-term goal, radicalizing Muslim communities.
So focusing on developing, on infiltrating communities within North America.
A top aide to the Deputy Secretary of Defense Gordon England,
right,
whose aide, Hisham Islam, I believe is an Islamist with a pro-Muslim Brotherhood bent who has brought in groups to the Pentagon who have been unindicted co-conspirators.
Let me get the broader picture here. So you believe that this guy is a foremost expert on the issue of Islamic extremism in the United States, and because he wouldn't soften his views, change his opinions or his rhetoric, he's being fired because there are people that are sympathetic, you're making the case, to radical Islam, within our own government? Am I understanding that right?
Radical Islam, the jihadist global civilizational jihad, that's a quote from the document released during the trial, has emerged under the guise of different organizations that have penetrated the U.S. government. People don't want to believe it, but it's true. Hey, and even though these groups claim they're anti-terrorism, they're not. They have an agenda.
So you're saying there's widespread penetration of people who want jihad against the United States literally working in the Pentagon?
I say, yes, I am telling you, we know that from the trials of former military members who were brought up on charges of carrying out jihad. So we know that they trained in the military, number one. Number two, the chaplains who serve, the Islamic chaplains who serve, were trained by a known terrorist.
And they want to destroy the United States. These people working internally, there's like a fifth column in there.
You got it. In fact, there was an operation in the late 1980s called Trojan Horse.
And the government's lying
to
Fox News about it.
I'm sorry?
The government's lying to Fox News about it.
Oh, the government lying to I'm shocked, Alan. I mean, suddenly you're a believer in the government. You always did.
Yes, the United States very definitely is in the sights of Islamic Jihad. And the reason that we know that, for instance, comes to light in the recently concluded second trial of the Holy Land Foundation, which time they obtained at the end of November last year 108 unanimous counts guilty as charged, terrorist funding to Hamas. Among the documents that came to light in that trial are a number of documents of the Muslim Brotherhood. And among those documents are statements, very frank statements, if you will, that describe exactly what the Ikhwan, or the Muslim Brotherhood, intend for the United States. And they say, quoting loosely more or less, they say, we, the Ikhwan, we will sabotage your miserable house with our hands from within. In other words, their intention is to bring Islam to the United States, to bring down our Constitution and substitute it with Sharia.
I saw a shocking photo about a year ago. And it said we have no army but Hezbollah, and it was people in the full burqas, and they were holding the paper up, and I said, so what's so shocking about this? And they said, Glenn, this is a picture from Dearborn, Michigan. I mean, they are here and they're active.
They're absolutely here, Glenn. They're active from Hezbollah, from Hamas, from Islamic Jihad, from every single member, even Al Qaeda. I mean, they're still supporters of Al Qaeda in the United States. The fact is, I disagree with your guest. I don't believe that they need to express the motivation. The motivation is they hate us for who we are, and no matter what we do, I don't care if we're out of the Middle East. I don't care if Israel ceases to exist. They will hate us and continue to attack us no matter what.
Well, you know, the thing is that we could possibly change that would stop them when they're looking for a global caliphate?
Well, I think the global caliphate is kind of the last refuge of the neoconservatives after they've been wrong about everything else. There's no chance of a caliphate in our world any more than there is of all Christians turning the other cheek, sir.
Wow, I couldn't disagree with you more, Michael. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah, I think really, Glenn, that the problem we have is the motivation is very important. They don't hate us for who we are. They don't like who we are. But why they're attacking us is because we support governments like the Saudis, like the Egyptians, because we're on the Arabian Peninsula. Islam is a very diverse civilization, and the only reason bin Laden has been able to generate any unity is because Muslims, extremists, and whiskey drinkers running the spectrum hate U.S. foreign policy.
Steve, last word here.
I'm sorry, with all due respect, that's a lot of malarkey. They may hate U.S. foreign policy, they hate the United States, they hate secularism, they hate the separation of church and state, they hate our values. And nothing will stop them other than to see our obliteration. Whether, in fact, that's a possibility or not, they believe it is. And that's the only thing